Hi everybody, and welcome to the first poetry slam of our year. For anyone who doesn't know the rules, the 8 poets starting at first. 3 of them are going to get, 2 of them are going to get knocked out in the first round, 3 knocked out in the second round, and then we're going to be left with 2 to go head to head. We are going to be judged by a panel of judges out of 10. So just introduction to the judges, we have Richard Margaret Turley, Professor for the Engagement of the Public Imagination, winner of the Shelley Keats Prize of Poetry, and writer of various collections of poetry such as The Fossil Blocks, Whiteout, and One Who's Flying Chair, which is kindly donated to us as first, second and third prizes. Cass Stansfield, author of The Visitor, and a future poetry collection called Playing House. And Rob, who is the owner of Lickety Ramshackle, one of our sponsors. Lickety Ramshackle is a really good shop, so you should go there, not just because they're sponsoring us, but because it's actually a really good shop. And finally, you've probably seen him busking around town. The current holder of our Poetry Slam champion, George Jones, who is also a Master's Creative Writing student. So first up, we have Liam.
It's quite sad that Ellie said no flashing because I get naked in the third round. So it's not how it works. Vote me through if you want to see that. I'm going to chat to you a minute while I find my poem. I was thinking about today about the phrase, I'm a poet and I don't know it, and I'm a poet and I'm very self-conscious that I know it, and that I'm very aware of that. And I found it, so let's go stop talking now. This is the myriad starlings clouding a rendezvous of wings, a tryst in the memory palace. Don't disobey your physics, little bird, you are hollow so you can fly. Flapping 1,000 beats your heart, a vampire for honey, not blood. Sweet thing, add a drop to your tea or you'll die. Motorized cogs whirl down, last time, spinning out, lose everything in motion. No more working parts in mechanic order. And we'll go on dying and declining in this way. We fall, dislomed, to be walked on soft bridge. Decay hurried by feet. And it could rain diamonds, but you wouldn't be happy and neither would I. Because we'd be crushed by the weight of wealth. It's cold on Neptune, my heart feels so heavy on Jupiter, by Jove we're poor. But planetary bodies are the only place where diamonds and blood don't mix on the floor.
Hi, I'm Ellie. My poetry is kind of quite a bit random, so I don't write much. But this first one, it's I was thinking about school and like remembering memories of it, and this is just kind of what I came up with. The ticking of the clock, the waiting for the change that never seems to come. Warm air drifts in, calling us outside, elbows slipping off the desks. Every brain seems fried. The bell's gone and we're off, don't want to waste a minute. Long days, late nights, in summer there is no limit. Postcards from everywhere, all are having fun. Emily is in Paris, Laura's in the lakes. Then me and mine are off at last, to Cornish hills, sandy beaches, to swimming in the brine. So much to do, so little time, how can it be so late? The summer's almost gone, just 3 days, now 2, now 1. And we're back to the ticking clocks, to long stares at photo shops. Next summer feels so far away. I really wish it were here today.
Shian. He walks like an apology. Hunched over, eyes pointed towards the grave, he runs like a mistake, tripping over his lies. I never told a soul how he turned my body into a crime scene. His hands are roped around my neck, yellow tape caution. I am choking and he wears his smile like a prize. A senseless boy picking wings off butterflies. She gave you her strength wrapped up in silk. In return, you pick the flesh off her bones. Vulture. You look as though God has fallen from your fingertips. Jesus has been nailed to the couch and I dream of you. I dream of you because you made the monster you see in the mirror. Because you bit her and marked her as your whore. Your story means nothing to me. You can kneel down and beg forgiveness and I would still stand in front of you, no less of a woman. but you, in all your painted glory, are less of a man. He walks like an apology. Hunched over, eyes pointed towards the grave, he runs like a mistake, tripping over his lies.
Hi, I'm George. I've got a new poem today, just finished it now. It's hot off the press, warm off the press. I sat on it for a bit. It's called Living Legend. You and I drank custard on a faded park bench, talked about girls and nonsense in mock French, and sang and played guitar when we were rubbish. We got whammoed on the beach and crawled home, and discovered hangovers, fought over rock and roll, and watched Bond films over and over again, got silly revisiting the times when we were 10, and wrote songs about worlds we'd scrawled on beer mats from afternoon pub crawls, and listened to our dad's vinyls before hipsters weren't hip, and scribbled on the Berlin Wall during a school trip, ideals from before we were born, vague platitudes, the very best in poetry porn. We gave it up, but there was so much more. We chased the wrong ones and wrote rude things on toilet walls. Everywhere in Cardiff closed up that night when we bellowed Disco 2000 to Cathays. You coughed up a tonsil stone and broke it, and I won't lie, it smelled like shit. And that night you told Leanne how you always felt. We all dressed you up with a big bog roll belt, and declared that summertime was finally up. When we got back to your flat and you dropped that coffee cup, you used that jacket to mop it up, the one with the stains from the beans in first year. I text you in our unparalleled language. You reply that you laughed and no one knew why, and you may have chopped off your hair and escaped from that smelly Dockland despair. But I know you, I remember you, and that means we're still punky teenage imbeciles forever, my friend.
Hello, I'm Leo. Well, most of you know me as Leo. Okay. This is a poem that I actually wrote last semester that did get a lot of good reviews, and I've kind of revised it a little bit and reworded it. It's called Cubist. If I had hands that worked when I willed them to work, I wouldn't know what to do with them. Plain truth. And vanity is a cruel bitch. And she tells me I don't fit. My eyes are still those wide swirls of irises. My lip is chipped in half, and I'm crayon lines, a painting by numbers without the bloody numbers. So I hang around the pub with this sloppy face, people squinting in, trying to get me to look right. I spot them a mile off. That's the good thing about having an eye in either corner. I get a lot of thinking done though. Life can be pretty quiet in three clashing colours, and after all, I have an artist's face. But I reckon I could have been like our Turner. Him, over there, clumped over his whiskey, elbows in spilt beer. I'd have suited life as a bloody sky on fire. Thank you.
Hey guys, I'm Dean, and all these poems were written quite on the rush, so I'm going to start with this thing called absolute garbage. They call it rap. This horrible genre you'll have heard with its tragic application of verbs, that end rhyme for bigger, that nippers nitpick to nick a line to find the same allocation of words, because all rappers are the same. Stealing rhythm, appealing with an anthem to materialism, drugs and the degradation of women. For that, I apologize. Hip-hop may kill it hard, but a woman isn't a trophy for the sake of filling bars. But rap is so much more than the Lil Wayne and Nicki Minaj you'll hear. Some mainstream rap will sabotage the truth and will continue to do so for years, decades, centuries, thinking only of money and poignant messages they flaunt like accessories. But go underground, and you will find your gender politics, your war and apocalypse, our planet's overdose in death, sex, and excessive populace. You'll find your vocal percussion or vocal discussion about corrupted politics, with politicians living in bottomless dominance. And all these syllables will be scribbled and dribbled by social workers, observers, and soul searchers, some of which live with depression, poverty, and Asperger's. Which is funny, because poetry says because people say rap stands for retard attempting poetry, but if you saw the special poetry slam where people unafraid of what other people thought took the stage and proudly slurred their own beautiful passages empowered by their immutable languages, what would you think? Now, rappers will take a slightly different route. Their messages will be delivered with a tinge of arrogance, but hip-hop comes with a confidence boost so strong if it were coffee, a glance will make your heart stop. but understand that the origins of rap were ultimately from jazz, which stemmed during periods of suppression in multicultural aftermaths. For those who feel the burden of life's problems, rap is liberating. And when your voice box unfolds and you hear yourself speak to the world for the first time, you'll feel like you're in Antarctica figure skating and ignoring the cold. And if the only downside is a sense of arrogance, then track the album, not the song, and you'll see that we do more than selfishly pour out our guts. So in the end of all this, if you still think rap is filled with illiterate idiots always literally littering chunks of illegitimate junk, be aware, no matter what, we'll still always be liberally alliterating, brain-crunching wordplay, multisyllabically liberating our spirits and reiterating the already obliterated path of rebuff. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Dan. This is a new one, self-referentially titled Overdressed. Striped and overdressed in a zoot suit caricature. A window mannequin floating on wind chill. Sneaking, lisping, chin hairs waxing from the lamp heat. Burning the wishbone paper, born from the dark bark, and still more wood in delivery, God only knows how. These cathode breaths are drawn out sharp, conducted, narrow passages in spurts and starts, inward held, quiver point hum, and that's all I'm an all the way to the bar for a bitter Dutch courage. Fuck it, let's take the Scotch variety and shalala some broken verse. A strangled sonnet sounds the turn. That phrase that renders up beating iams, fit for mending tracts and treaties, though they always do meander. The chase of thoughts in constant prone, the act of marshalled rank and formulated deed, the form belated comes upon the page of ink and fire and pen to sow the seed that later blossoms, fruits born out from sage advice. Do you see? It gets away from you. You lose your track. The train of thought that led you to the poet's place is fey and fickle, see? The metric cage I'm caught in now is a bit to escape, I mean. These formal trappings are difficult to weave. You see? You start on a stage and end it tangled up in iams and dactyls, form and functions, anapets on a crying havoc wind, but free verse, see, swings, you see, swings. It's scansion wide, and fatty, seeming to be random, punctuation lacking, emphasis, recreationally abhorring, language, plaything, neat hard. Yes! Rash on my elbow, rash on my tongue, rash and unthinking, but free, of form chain misanthrope. My knees, honey, baby, child, darling, dear, my lovelies, you. You might be asking what this means, and that's fair enough. What does this mean? I ask you now, what does this mean? Eh? Thank you.
Yeah, well, I'll follow that. Fantastic, phenomenal one, and everybody so far as well. So I'm Marcus, and this is Dances with Ghosts. I'll just get straight on with it. Persistence with irrelevance is making for significant results. Old obnoxious facts that fill new empty boxes. Well, where's the fun in that? Joy, finding out that things bend and break to pieces. Toys, the tractables, realizing they bend and mold to boring. It's not how it is, it's how we are, and that's how we've been taught. The passed on pointless precursors founded on archaic assumptions. Capriciousness is delicious and auspiciousness is nutritious, whilst obsolescence doesn't impress us and is hurting our convalescence. I love the new, I respect the old, but the old wants the new to fold, and the new doesn't like being told that it should fold to be the old. And it's getting cold, the atmosphere that is. The ruiner is the one who wields the biggest sticks. Primitive games are chronic, even if they do lack logic, so let's dance with ghosts as we parry and riposte. Until we stop and stand still, to the sound of the final drum, the point at the end where we have our equilibrium.
Okay, so we're just going to have a short break now whilst the judges tally out the scores.